I had had a seizure one night, and thankfully I was coherent during a seizure, because when the second one came and then I put the pieces together, it was like an aha moment. And so I immediately went in to see my doctor, and he ordered an MRI. And when the report came back on Friday, I picked up the phone and I called Lyle and said, do you want to go on a road trip? So on Monday, got down to Mayo and met with the neurologist and had the surgery that Friday. And after 2 weeks of healing, I went down to Mayo for my, what I call cancercation, and was there for 6.5 weeks. And 2 weeks after that, after the radiation treatments, I was back at work.
She complained about some sensations in her head, having trouble tracking from one page to the other when she was reading.
And we saw a family med on a Monday, saw the eye doctor on Tuesday, went to neurology on Thursday. MRI was scheduled for Friday, and from between April 10th and April 15th of 2011, we went from a headache to a death sentence.
So she had a really positive response to the radiation therapy, and I think it tamed the tumor nicely and gave us another several months of really quality living.
When treatment had been exhausted here at Mayo, the Mayo Clinic did help us explore opportunities at St. Jude for experimental treatment. Unfortunately, Shannon deteriorated very quickly. Within a week of us being there, she was losing function, starting to have trouble walking, pretty soon wheelchair bound with a patch on her eye. In the end, we were able to donate Shannon's tumor back to St. Jude.
It was 3 years ago. He'd been real depressed, not feeling well.
Not sleeping well.
Well, then they came down for 4th of July weekend. Hardly got out of bed, wasn't feeling well, had a headache. The next morning, they were getting ready to go home. And I go in the bedroom and I see him on the floor, and I said, Dad, what are you doing? Well, I can't get my socks on. It's because his left side was not really working very well. And I said, Dad, I'm just gonna take you to the doctor, full well knowing that we were going straight to the hospital. That was a Sunday. They biopsied on Monday and they did the surgery on Friday.
And they were only able to remove about 50% of the tumor.
End of January that winter.
So 7 months.
Of all ironic professions, I am an oncology nurse, and I was driving home from work from the clinic, and all of a sudden I got a headache that I really can't describe. And I got home and I called Martha, and Martha said, be outside in 10 minutes, I'm going to pick you up and we're going to the emergency room. They got the swelling under control with lots of steroids and pain under control with lots of drugs, and I had surgery the next morning. And so they took the tumor and I guess a good part of my temporal lobe. He said, I got all the tumor and you're a rock star and you're gonna do great. Yeah. Such a great surgeon. I think I asked him to marry me at some point.
About 4 times.
He was a sales manager for a car dealership, and the guy could sell you a piece of cardboard. I mean, he just had great sales skills, and he was excited about what he did. He was passionate, lively, just full of life.
Katie's wedding was in September.
He wasn't able to walk me down the aisle, but his brother pushed him in the wheelchair, so he was able to give me away. He also gave a speech. He told a joke, of course. He had a good time, but he was really tired.
I have been very open with my diagnosis because I want to educate people that there is a life after a diagnosis.
The next challenge would be to, I don't know, live till you're 85?
I'm too ornery to die.
She was a pretty special kid throughout her life, a great sister. Stubborn, she was stubborn, but that turned out to help us.
She was adamant that I want to go to school, I want to play my sports, I want to see my friends.
She wanted to live as normal as she could.
She was diagnosed in April. She finished the school year, and that summer, which ended up being her last summer, we did just spend as much time and do as many fun things as we could.
For us to talk about those 9 months to define her 13 years is probably not fair, because she had a pretty good run. She had a good life and led a good life, and we're quite proud of that too.
You know, you go to kind of the old standard way of looking at glio, and you've got 6 to 9 months, get your affairs in order, and good luck. And you know what, that wasn't good enough. I'm running, and I'm going to movies, and I'm a really good nurse. I'm a good friend, hopefully.
Yes.
Right? And I want to be a good daughter, and I want to be a good sister, and I have all these things that I want to do, and I'm going to do them. I'm going to keep on doing them.
You know, you have to have humor in dealing with this situation. So we took the mask, the radiation mask that I wore during the treatments, and we put it between us.
You look like her and Freddy Krueger and her sister.
He did keep his sense of humor throughout it all.
He loved playing jokes, and he was just a quirky kind of guy.
Best griller ever. Oh, so good.
And Dad always lit his fires with gasoline. And he'd hand turn the brats. He'd put his hand in a cold pan of water and turn the brats with his hand.
She stepped out from the exam room with the neurologist to say, I have to call my friend.
It was a birthday party, and she didn't want to let her friend down.
She called her friend and said, I won't be there for bowling, I'll be there in time for pizza, I have a brain tumor.
It has helped me kind of come to terms with some vanity issues. I'm still vain and shallow, but I used to have really amazing hair. Long, brown, thick.
Hair envy. She did. Yeah.
Martha had hair envy.
My radiation burned my hair off, and the week that I came back home, I had my sister's hairstylist parted on the other side and did a comb over, and it was almost touching my ear top, and that's how I went back to work, with a comb over.
She ate broccoli every day to prevent cancer.
I did.
You ate very healthy.
Isn't that funny? I would eat 2 cups of raw broccoli every day because I was sure that all the antioxidants were going to keep cancer away.
He still liked his brandy old fashions throughout the whole thing. Early on, Dad talked Stuart, my husband, into making him an old fashioned. I come back from the grocery store 45 minutes later, and he had 3 of them. Stuart, you liquored Dad up. Man wants a drink, I'm gonna give him a drink, he said. Dad was feeling just fine.
Thank God for modern medicine, because I am alive today.
The surgery room that he used, there's only 3 in the United States.
Having the MRI scanner in the surgical ward was such a blessing, because they could actually do it under MRI guidance.
I figure, why not take the best from everywhere? Take the best from what's local, take the best from what's at Duke, and that's exactly what I've done.
When she was first diagnosed and they did a local news story on her, and she said, I want my life to mean something to someone, and if the doctors can learn from me. And we've actually heard that part of Shannon's tumor is coming back to Mayo to be a part of a new research in a new lab here, trying to make advances against this type of tumor.
They did mention at Duke one time when we were there that they are getting to the stage now where they are treating this glioblastoma more as a chronic disease.
That's right, because they're seeing patients move into, well into the first decade, and some even kind of teetering into the second decade of having glio. And when I heard them say that, I thought, you know what? I could handle that. I could handle a chronic disease. Bring it on.
Modern medicine is so good that we need to get funding, more funding, because I have seen, working with mammography for the past 30 years, I have seen what funding can do. That's going to make the difference between life and an early death.
Anything you can do to help raise awareness, help to raise funds, I mean, all of those things are part of what our life in the after is about.
At Mayo, when you're done with treatments, they have a bell hanging in the waiting area. It really was a good day to ring that bell. It's a sign of freedom.
I think I miss the most about my dad is just our conversations. We talked a lot. If I had something fun and exciting going on in my life, it was fun and exciting in his life. And so he was just kind of my biggest fan. And so I miss the conversation, and I miss his smile and his hugs.
Our story, our hope, is that maybe we can help another family cope.
This has brought us so much closer, and we've seen each other laugh, we've seen each other cry.
It sucks that Shannon's no longer with us, but I think she'd be pretty happy with us right now. So we're lucky that we got our 13 years with Shannon, and now we've got the rest of our lives together. And don't wish it on anybody, but man, we've been feeling and living to its fullest. So life is pretty good.
The element of hope, if you gotta have it. And there is life with this disease. And I'm proof of that, right? I mean, I'm a year and 4 months out.
Do I know if there's no cure? Yes. Not yet.
I am a survivor, and with the advancements of technology, there will be many, many, many more survivors.